you do begin to die gradually and things start to fall apart every time you commit a sin. That in itself is proof that the laws are not done away with. If Jesus came to die for our sins and everything was fine and we never had to keep any commandments and we only had to believe in him, oh, trust and believe our lives should be perfect. We should not have any problems. Everything should be flowing smoothly. There should be money in abundance for everybody that just says, oh, I believe in Jesus. Everybody should have that. But you want to know why that's not happening? Because the commandments must be kept. If you do not keep the commandments, your life it will take a nosedive. It will decline. It will be a downturn. It will be death, sickness, poverty, disease and dis-ease all over your life because you're not keeping the commandments. If we didn't have to keep them, there would be no penalty. I want you to think about that. We have laws in our everyday society, even amongst the heathen. The heathen have laws where if you murder somebody, if you steal, you can be sent to jail or death. Certain laws that are broken, like let's say you're a murderer and you're a serial killer, they can do the death penalty. You can die instantly from that. Okay? So certain laws make you worthy of death right away. Okay? If Jesus came to die for all of our sins, that would mean there would be no more commandments. Because if he came and he paid the price, there would be nothing else to pay. There would be no more commandments. Do you understand how crazy it is now to believe that there are no more commandments? If there were no commandments, there would be no laws in society either. There would be all of the laws of society. Those came from the laws of God. Trust and believe. These evil, wicked demons, they did not come up with these laws. Thou shalt not murder. God came up with that. A wicked, demonic heathen did not come out with do not murder. They didn't come out because the enemy came to steal, kill, and destroy. Okay, kill is in there. So the spirit of the enemy is to kill people. So you know that a righteous commandment of thou shalt not kill could only come from a righteous God. And if that commandment is still in force, that means that we have to keep the commandments. Now and forever, we have to keep the commandments. The only thing that's not going on right now that you do not see in biblical worship of the Most High God is animal sacrifices. We don't have to do those because Jesus did that for us. But everything else, we have to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments from the Old Testament all the way into where we are right now in the New Testament. You need to know the Old Testament and the New Testament and put it together and keep all of those laws that are still in there. Because just like gravity, just like the law of gravity is still in force, you lift up something and you drop it, that's the law of gravity. Those laws are still in place. You murder somebody, now you have the spirit of murder on you. That's what happens. So you can't do away with that as long as those laws are in existence. That's how it is. Those laws are forever. Jesus never, ever said, after I come, you don't got to keep the laws anymore. Show me in the Bible where it says that. I bet you can't find it. You know why? It's not in there. He never said, don't keep the commandments. And I'm so passionate about it because I've been lied to my whole life. I've been told in church my whole life, oh, you're saved. All you got to do, confess with your mouth and believe in your heart. You know how they love to do little phrases. Confess with your mouth and believe in your heart that Jesus came to die for you. And as long as you believe on him, you're saved. That is a lie. It's a lie from the pit of hell. No, what you have to do is you have to read the Bible, study it. You got to know it because first of all, you have to know what the commandments are in order to keep them. Okay. So you have to read the Bible, study it, know the commandments, apply them to your life and keep them. And then when you accidentally sin, when you didn't mean to sin, that's when you go to the Father in the name of his Son, our Messiah, Christ, Yeshua, which the world calls Jesus. His real name, we are Hebrews. God's people are Hebrews. So we spoke Hebrew. In Hebrew, the Son of God, his real name is Yeshua or Yeshua, however you want to say it. His real name is Yeshua, which means Joshua in English. It was never Jesus. The heathen made that up to deceive us and put a picture of Caesar Borgia, however you say that, but they put a picture of a palm-colored man and told us that that was Jesus, our Messiah. That ain't our Messiah. Our Messiah is he's darker than me. He's closer to this color. His skin was as if fine brass was burned in a fire. What color is anything that's burned in a fire? It's black. His skin was the ultimate color of brown, it looked black. Okay. Our Messiah is black. It's not this color. Okay. It's closer to this color, but it's way darker. Is our Messiah, Yeshua. Okay. So that's the name we need to pray in. And that's the name we need to confess to whenever we commit a sin. But it's not for us to sin freely. Listen, let me keep it all the way real with you. If you're not keeping the commandments, then God can't trust you. I don't care how nice, sweet, kind, good you think you are. If you're not keeping the biblical laws, statutes, and commandments, God won't trust you. Why? Because failure to keep the commandments is living in sin and rebellion against God. That means that whatever good things or material possessions you do get, or even your relationships, all of them will start to fall off. They will fall apart when you're living contrary to the laws of God. Without these commandments, you'll fumble the bag every time. God's people used to rule this whole earth, and we lost that sovereignty by not keeping the commandments and following after the wicked ways of the heathen nations. We're the only nation that has a true living God. But we collectively left our God and started chasing after these ratchet heathens. Here are some ways to know if you're living for God or if you're living for the world. If you have a lot of friends and a lot of people like you, because the Bible clearly says, "Whoa," when everyone speaks well of you. It means that you're living for the world and not for God. If you don't have a friend or family member or spiritual leader who can correct you when you're wrong, some people have yes men or yes women around them all the time that constantly affirm their bad decisions and choices, leading you right to the pit of hell. And so they'll never tell you when you're wrong. They agree with everything you do because just like you, they are on the path to destruction and they don't care if they take you with them. Misery loves company and they're fine with you dying with them. That's what that is. If you're having sex with anyone that you're not married to, or if you're pleasuring yourself intimately, because there are a lot of people who are abstinent from sex and claiming celibacy or being abstinent, but to be abstinent means to be completely hands off. That means you ain't touching, nothing is touching you, and you ain't touching nothing. Does that clear it up? Does that make it clear? If you don't feel like praying or reading the Bible, you're living for the world. Absolutely every holiday on the calendar, if it's not in the Bible and you're celebrating it, you're a part of devil worship because the heathens worship Satan, which is the devil. You're either with God or you're against him. There is no middle. There isn't, I'm going to do a little of this or a little of that. No. If you're lukewarm, God will spit you out. Okay? So you're either with God or you're against him. You're either keeping God's high holy days or the world's evil holidays. There is no middle. You can't do a little bit of each because that makes you in rebellion. You're still in sin. Yeah.